In this video, we're talking about 3 different stocks that are undervalued right now when I'm filming this video. However, by the time you watch it, it's possible that they would have shot up already. And if they haven't, then I think they're great stocks to pick up going forwards. So the 3 stocks we're talking about are BTCG, BITC, as well as qbtc. And all of these are Bitcoin trust funds. And currently they're undervalued by more than 10% because Bitcoin has been going up this weekend. For those of you who are new here, my name is Daniel, and here on this channel, we talk about stock market investing with a focus in growth stocks. But recently, we've been talking a bit more about cryptocurrencies because I believe Bitcoin right now is probably the best place to put your money for some guaranteed growth. At least in my mind, I believe there's a 99% chance we're going to still see higher prices from here. Versus the rest of the market, it's very uncertain to me whether we're going to see higher prices going forwards, as I do believe the market is a little bit overinflated right now. I believe that there's a lot of people coming to the market and pushing up prices of assets. However, Bitcoin is a little bit different, where it seems to be following a trend every 4 years. And we're still in the middle of this Bitcoin run, and I believe that there's a lot more upside from here, at least until we hit around the 100k USD mark. So for that reason, I've been talking a bit more about cryptocurrencies. However, there's instruments in the market that you can invest in that hold cryptocurrencies. And the 3 stocks that I mentioned earlier all hold cryptocurrencies in a closed-ended trust fund. And I did explain a little bit on my previous video when I talked about the Bitcoin ETF. But for those of you who don't know what a closed-ended trust fund is, I'll explain it right now. So the closed-ended trust fund, basically they're not allowed to issue shares whenever they want versus an open-ended fund, which is like an ETF. So the amount of units out there right now in the stock market are going to stay constant. And because the closed-ended trust funds we're talking about today are Bitcoin closed-ended trust funds, each stock unit from that closed-ended trust fund is tied to a certain amount of Bitcoin within the fund. And when the price of Bitcoin goes up, naturally the price of the closed-ended fund goes up as well. However, there's some disparity between the price of the stock versus the price of the Bitcoin that's held per stock unit. The reason is because the number of Bitcoins that this trust fund holds is constant at all times, and supply and demand can cause the price to fluctuate at a premium or a discount. And this is how I found out that these 3 funds were undervalued right now based on the net asset value per unit and the actual price of the share itself. And we can see there's a mismatch, which I'll show you a little bit later on. If we look at the chart showing the premium or discount on the net asset value of qbtc, this is the most popular Bitcoin closed-ended fund out there. We can see that qbtc always trades at a premium. There's maybe been like 1 or 2 points in history where it's traded just below 0. But you can see that the premium goes as high as 100%, and right now it's sitting around like 7 to 8% as of today. But on the other hand, there's these 3 Canadian funds that I mentioned earlier in the video. These are undervalued based on the net asset value per unit versus the stock price. So I'm going to pull up my phone right now and show you exactly what I mean. So you can see here we're on btcg's site, and you can see the US dollars showing the net asset value per unit at 24.86 versus the market value of 22.12. So basically each unit right now, as of end of Friday, you could have bought the share for $22.12, and that share is tied to Bitcoin values of $24.86. And that's as of February 19th. However, if you look at the chart of Bitcoin, Bitcoin has gone up over this weekend, and right now it's Sunday as I'm filming this. So I can expect the net asset value to be a little higher, probably around $25 per share. We can actually calculate that later on when we go down further to see how many Bitcoin units are tied to each individual share. Now, if you're Canadian, the btcg.un fund, the net asset value per share is $31.38, and the market value per share is $27.58. So this is somewhere around like a 10% discount. So basically you're buying Bitcoin for 10% less than its actual price on the market. And I think if this stays this way this week, I will be buying heavily into these funds. Now going further down, we can see the total net asset values, units outstanding, units per Bitcoin, as well as Bitcoin per units. The Bitcoin per units is what you want to look at. We can see that it's a 0.00045 Bitcoins per unit. So you can keep track of this. Just type into Google 0.00045 Bitcoins to Canadian dollars or to US dollars to get the net asset value per unit. One thing to note here though, there is a management fee of 1.8%, which is a lot higher than the Bitcoin ETF, which is at 1%. So this is for BTCG. Now if we switch over to the Bitcoin fund, or qbtc, You can see here that the qbtc.u ticker symbol is valued at $55.40 as of Friday. And the net asset value per unit as of February 19th is $62.36. So I believe that this is also another 10% discount on qbtc. Now for the Canadian side, just qbtc, we can see that it's trading at $69.86 and the net asset value per unit is $78.71. So this is somewhere around another 10% discount. Further down, we can see the management fee is 1.95% for this one. So it's a little bit higher than the previous one, btcg. Now, if we go over to the last fund that I talked about, this is the Bitcoin Trust Fund, or btcg.un. This is the US version. We can see that they have a management fee of 0.7%. Scrolling down further, we can see the net asset value per unit at $16.80. And as of Friday, the closing time, it was valued at $15.18. So this is another discount of around 10% as well. There's also the Canadian fund. If we switch over here, we can see that the Canadian fund was valued at $19.25 and the net asset value per unit was $21.20. So there's all the proof for as to why I believe these three funds are actually undervalued. Now, as for which fund I would want to buy into, well, obviously I would be buying into btcg.un because of the management fee. Right up here, 0.7%, versus the other two funds were at 1.85 or 1.9%. So I believe that BITC is definitely the fund to go for. I haven't found any other reason out there not to invest in BITC. If you guys know anything more about this fund, maybe there's certain things that I'm missing in terms of my due diligence, let me know down below. But as of right now, because of the management fee, BITC seems actually like the better option. And it's even a better option than the Bitcoin ETF. On my previous video on the Bitcoin ETF, I said that the Bitcoin ETF is probably a better place to put your money versus these closed-ended funds because they typically trade at a premium. However, after discovering that these three funds are trading at a discount right now, I'm going to be diverting a lot more of my money into these funds as long as they're trading at a discount. Now, one risk that you have to take into consideration for trading with these funds and just any sort of Bitcoin fund out there is the fact that Bitcoin's price could also drop further down. So even though I'm buying these at a discount, if Bitcoin drops down in price, then my return on my investment over the long term will probably be a little bit less. And you can get a better cost per Bitcoin in the future if we do see some sort of correction. So that's one thing that I want to leave with you guys, that there's a risk if you're buying into these funds, and really they're tied to the price of Bitcoin, which is very volatile. But for me personally, I believe that buying into these funds right now, getting Bitcoin at a 10% discount, that's basically paying around like $63,000 or maybe $65,000 per Bitcoin versus Bitcoin trading at $73,000 today. So those are my thoughts on these three funds. Let me know your thoughts down below, whether you think that these closed-ended funds are a better buy right now versus the Bitcoin ETF or buying Bitcoin itself. If you want to see when I'm buying into these funds or just my day-to-day research and just different thoughts around the stock market, check out my Patreon page down below. I give all my Patreons my buy and sell alerts for my Questrade account and my Wealthsimple account, as well as I just tell them different thoughts I have on the stock market and where I think things are going, as well as some individual stocks that I'm looking into before I even disclose them on my channel or buy them in my portfolio. If you want to check out other Bitcoin videos or cryptocurrency videos, there's two right up here on the screen. If you're there, I'll see you there. If not, keep up the grind and have a great day.